Assalamu alaikum, my name is Imran Jan and you're watching my YouTube channel. Today's video is about the people, I call it the people of airport, and to be very precise, the people of Pakistan at the airport. How do the people of Pakistan behave at the airport? Because I'm myself a Pakistani American and I travel a lot between Pakistan and the United States. So the things that I've always seen every time I travel at least once or twice a year, every year. I see some really funny and disturbing things. The whole journey on every step, I tried to look online if someone might have talked about it or written something about it. I have written about it, but briefly, and not much has been said about this, and I'm sure almost every immigrant generally and the ones traveling to Pakistan and India specifically, there are certain things that happen right before the journey and right on the journey and after the journey. What happens and what people see and how people behave, the entire journey, going from the United States to Pakistan and then from Pakistan back to the United States. The whole round trip, the whole journey has a lot of things that, are observed and not much has been, like I said, talked about. I am going to, in this video, this is going to be a lengthy one, but I'll make it interesting and I'll be talking about exactly all of those things. Whether you're going to Pakistan or going from Pakistan, let's say you're arriving in Pakistan from the United States or you're departing from Pakistan back to the United States, there are things that I see that are funny, interesting, but at the same time, some things leave me speechless, and I'm just going to list all those things right now. So before I take you on this journey, let's say we start it from the United States, and in my case, I travel from Houston, Texas, which is a city with a lot of immigrants, with a very thriving Desi community. So I travel from Houston to Islamabad every time. So before the journey starts, one of the most interesting things that happen is almost every person that I know that travels, they try to keep the journey in secrecy. They do not want the people to know that they're going to Pakistan, for two big reasons. And like I said, nobody wants to talk about it, but everyone knows it. When they see this video, they'll see that, yeah, this is exactly the case and this is exactly the truth, but no one talks about it. The non-funny reason is that your white folks in America, your friends who are American, the white people mostly, who are from there, they were born and raised there, as soon as you say you're going to Pakistan, the first thing that comes to their mind is that maybe you're just going for, getting some terrorist training. That's just what's in their minds. You want to go to Pakistan, maybe something is up. The other reason is, which is a funny reason, all of your friends, almost all of your friends from Pakistan, they would like to give you something so that you can take it to Pakistan to their relatives and friends. There's always something, they just give you a lot of stuff so that you can put it in your bags, because it's not easy to send almost everything from the United States to Pakistan, and it's expensive at the same time. Your friend, let's say I'm traveling and people give me a lot of things, of course I take it for free, and that's what many people do. So iPhones, iPads, laptops, these are some of the most common things that people give you, sometimes even clothes, shirts and jackets and whatnot, designer ones that they have bought at the Black Friday sales event, and it's cheap, but they make sure to keep the original tag on it so that the people in Pakistan can be impressed that, they spend so much money buying that stuff for them. So that's number one. The other thing is, they also give you some weird things. People have given me all kinds of things to take to Pakistan. Once, one guy gave me a bag of Lay's chips. Can you believe it? I was supposed to take that to Pakistan, as if Pakistan does not have Lay's chips. But it is what it is. And if you say no, you upset a lot of people, and that's why people try to keep it secret. But it's not always easy. I mean, it's just typical of Desi community, typical of Desi people. And if I did not explain what Desi means, of course, we know the word Desi and the meaning of it, but it is usually and mostly referred to the people from Pakistan and India who live in the United States. They're called Desi people, Desi community. So every time I say the word Desi in this video, those who do not know should know that this is the people that I'm referring to. But even though, despite the secrecy that you try to use and you try to keep your travel plans in secret, People somehow come to find out, they just know, they just find out, they just come to know. I don't know how this happens, but as soon as your flight date approaches, people start calling you and start giving you stuff that you can take with them. And sometimes they are so nice to you. You may not see them the whole year, but when they want you to take their luggage, they get so nice to you that they will offer you a ride to the airport. One guy who gave me a laptop on this trip, I'm in Pakistan right now, and when I was coming, this guy gave me a customized laptop. Someone had custom built it. It was expensive, and they wanted me to deliver that to someone in Islamabad. And so when I was taking that guy offered me a ride to the airport on my flight date. At the same time, he said, if I can also arrange for someone to come and pick you up from the airport in Islamabad. So that was funny. Of course, I didn't use his help, but depending on how pricey their merchandise is that you are taking, you will get the same level of offers from those people to make it easier for you, because you're taking all that stuff for them. So that's quite typical of the Desi community. Anyway, before you travel, what I do, what is typical, when I refer to myself, I'm trying to represent the Desi community. I buy a lot of cool gadgets, a lot of things that a whole year I may not even think about. But then I want to buy those things, such as a nice Apple iPhone, Apple Watch, and AirPods, a pair of all kinds of different things, so that I can show off in Pakistan, because nobody is impressed with AirPods in the United States. Nobody gives a damn about what you're wearing on your wrist. It's not like that, but people in Pakistan pay attention to these things. And that's another funny thing. Every time I'm traveling to Pakistan, the most common request or demand that people have is for an iPhone, or maybe an iPad, laptop, some kind of branded t-shirt, Nike shoes always. The funny thing is, I've been traveling for about 11 years now. And like I said, I travel once for sure, sometimes twice, and sometimes even 3 times a year. Nobody has asked me to bring them a book. Nobody. There are many, many good books available in the United States that may not be available in Pakistan. No one wants to read books. Anyway, you pack your bags on the night of the flight, the night before, let's say you have your flight tomorrow. One of my favorite nights in America is when I'm packing all those bags, because the next day I'm supposed to wake up and be ready to get on the road to go to the airport and fly to Pakistan. I don't know about you, but I'm sure this is true for many immigrants, many Desi people. There's something that your white folks, your average American friends are not going to understand. And you know what, even if you have explained a lot and it's still not working, maybe you should not explain it more. But this is something the Desi people understand. The travel to Pakistan has its own attraction, has its own beauty. There's a lot that goes in your mind when you're traveling to Pakistan. Like I said, only the Desi people understand it. So it's one of those beautiful nights, for me. When I'm packing my bags, I literally throw everything in the bag. But I just pack my bags and, so that, it's excitement, because the next day I'll be traveling to Pakistan. Flight day comes, and I usually try not to travel during peak seasons, which are December and June and July. But after COVID, I think, it's busy the whole year round. But the reason I try not to travel in peak seasons, although sometimes I just end up doing exactly that, is because not only are the tickets expensive, but it's crowded also. It's a full flight always. The plane is full. The staff is stretched thin. They cannot help you and cater to your needs of the flight as much as they would do, let's say, if it would not be a full flight during an off season, or during a season that's not the peak season, let's say March and April. At the same time, the whole journey is hectic because of the peak season. You step out of your house to go to the airport, you get in your car, even the roads are busy. The freeways are busy. Everything is busy in peak season. The airports are crowded. The plane is full. It's just a difficult and hectic travel time when you're traveling in peak season, and it's expensive also. In off seasons, it's cheap. It's not crowded, it's easy. I miss the pandemic days actually, because I remember during the pandemic there was a business class flight which was very cheap, and I bought the ticket. I ended up traveling on business class, and here I am, you'll see I'm sitting in that business class seat and trying to write something on my laptop. But the thing is, the entire business class section was empty. Nobody was flying. I mean, I'm talking about the height of the pandemic. And I enjoyed the trip. The whole staff was just trying to make me happy, and that was good. But those days are over, and there's not going to be a cheap business class flight in the foreseeable future. Anyway, you get to the airport. It's, like I said, it's crowded. You stand in line, and then you get to the counter where they print your boarding passes after they check your passport and visa, or COVID test. Sometimes I don't know when the COVID test is needed and when it's not. There's been so much confusion about that. I missed 2 of my flights because of that. That's another story for another time, maybe another video on that. But after all of that, they print you your boarding passes, and then, like I said, I travel from Houston, so I know exactly. I've traveled so much, I can literally walk to the next section of the airport with my eyes closed. After the boarding passes, you walk to the security section, and then you go through the security. They check all your bags, and that staff, by the way, is not polite at all. I've never seen them being polite. I guess that's how security officials are at any given airport. And then after you pass through that, you go and board your plane, and your journey starts. The people of Pakistan and India do certain things. They behave in a certain way, but not when they're in the United States. It's when they get to Dubai or Doha. There are some things that I always see that I'm going to talk about in this next section of the video. Anyway, you get on the plane after your boarding passes are given to you. After you clear the security, you go get on the plane. The staff always smiles. You walk through the business class seats. You look at those people sitting comfortably, and there's nothing you can do. You go and find your own seat in the economy class and sit over there and pray and hope that the seat next to you remains empty, that nobody comes and sits there. But they almost always do. They always come and sit, and then again, there's nothing you can do. You just sit there and wait for the journey to be over. As soon as actually the plane starts moving, the staff always come, the flight stewards or stewardess, they always come and make you do 2 things. One, they make your seat go up straight. You cannot recline it during that time of a flight. And they make you move the windows up of the plane. This is a part I never got to understand. If you know why they make you move the windows up, because I feel like they just want to force us to enjoy the view outside. That's how it sounds to me. But anyway, if there's something else to it, which I'm sure there is, please let me know in the comment section. Why do they make us move the windows up? I get the seat, I understand that, but what about the windows? What's up with that? What security does that serve? And like I said, I do not know. Please let me know in the comment section. Then on the plane, there's always different internet packages available for you to purchase if you want to use the internet on the entire flight. There's also a separate package for WhatsApp. Let's say you just want to use WhatsApp to communicate with your family members and friends and whatnot. You can purchase that one also. That's usually a bit cheaper, but anyway, you do that, and you're gonna need something to kill the time with, because it's, let's say, Qatar or Emirates, whichever flight you have taken, whichever airline you're flying with, the journey from Houston to Doha or Dubai is about 15 to 16 hours. That's a very long stretch. It's not easy. Anyway, since I was traveling with Emirates Airline this time, I landed in Dubai, and it was one of those weird timing of the flight when the airport was almost empty. There were no other passengers. I was the only one, and I saw some staff and airport security staff and those people at the stores that they have at the duty-free section of the airport. I guess the whole airport is duty-free because they have all kinds of stores. That's what I saw. My next flight, was about 7 hours later. I had a 7-hour connection time in Dubai. So what I did was, I made sure to walk around and look at the things that I usually do not pay attention to, because usually my flight is just 2 hours away and it's a long walk. So I walk fast to get to the next flight. But this time I had 7 hours. So, I spent time at the airport, looked at different places and paid attention to different things. And since this was Christmas time, so they also had all these things there at the airport for kids to enjoy, and for the Christian community globally to feel welcome. So other than that, it's the same airport, but just not too many people, almost no people, like I said. They also had some restaurants there that I tried looking at, and I also went there to get some food. I also saw some Indian restaurant, but of course I didn't eat there. I settled for the American junk food with carbonated sugar water. I tried that, and they also had a hotel at the airport. Of course I did not use that either. I did not want to spend that kind of money just for a few hours of sleep, which may or may not come. So I just waited and walked around to kill time and look at different places and different things at the airport. And I thought sharing that might be interesting to you guys. The reason I did not get the room at the airport also is because when I'm traveling to Pakistan, I do not worry so much about rest, because I know as soon as I land in Islamabad, whoever has come to pick me up at the airport, usually my brother, they just take charge right from there. All I have to do is just get to the airport. They get the bags, they give me the ride. I literally have to do nothing after that. It's just easy for me. On the other hand, when I'm traveling back to the United States, I have to worry about getting food that night after I clear the immigration at the US airport. It's Houston airport in my case. I have to worry about buying dinner. I have to worry about buying eggs, milk, bread, and tea so that I can have breakfast the next morning in Houston. And I make that breakfast myself. In Pakistan, someone else makes it. Again, Desi people will understand what I'm talking about. We have an army of servants that we can afford in Pakistan. Of course, we cannot do that in America, but it is what it is. After all of that is done, then the time came for boarding the flight. I waited about 5.5 hours, and then I got to the terminal where I was supposed to board my next flight, because you always try to get at least an hour or maybe a little bit more than an hour before the flight time, so that you can board. They call you to board about 45 minutes or maybe sometimes an hour before the flight. So I got there, and this is the part where I get really upset by looking at the people of Pakistan and how they behave and the things they do. This is something I see every single time. It doesn't change. It doesn't matter if the people are educated or not. Mostly those are educated people. But what they do, how they behave, that's something that I need to make sure that it reaches the wider Pakistani audience, so that at least we can change how we travel and we can change the things we do. The way at the airport, when I'm walking toward the terminal where I'm supposed to get on my flight, it's a long distance, it's a long walk, and you walk through these various different terminals of various different flights going to various different parts of the world. All these different cities' names are mentioned on those walls, on those pillars. That these people, I'll come across some Vietnamese city name mentioned on that pillar, and then I'll see on those chairs Vietnamese people would be sitting there, and then I'll see some other country's name and some other city's name, and you'll see all those people sitting on those chairs, some maybe charging their phones or reading something, or maybe just sitting and waiting for the boarding call. How I spot my flight, my terminal from a distance is almost all those people are standing. They're never sitting on those chairs. Even if they are, a good bunch of them are always standing. This is something that our people do. They think that the flight will just leave, without taking them on board. I don't know what that fear is. I don't know what that, lack of patience is. Our people just stand there. They just stand there before the boarding call. There's no boarding call. Actually, there's a funny thing. Every time they want to make an announcement at the terminal where the Pakistani flight is supposed to be, where the people of Pakistan are going to fly to Islamabad, Karachi, Lahore, doesn't matter, whatever the city is, and every time they make that sound, that they ring that bell, that they usually ring right before they make an announcement to get people's attention only in Pakistan's terminal. They ring that bell, and then you know that there's going to be an announcement. But before that announcement, they always say, this is not a boarding call, so please stay on your seats. And then they make that announcement after that. This is so embarrassing, because they know that as soon as we ring that bell, these people are going to start making a line, and they will stand up over there as close to the counter as they can so that they can get on the plane. They have no patience. They just do not want to wait. Even this time I was there, I mean, look at this guy. This guy is not even an airline employee, doesn't look like one. And what happened was, this guy just showed up, and look at all these people rushing toward him. This is another thing that Pakistani people do. They like to ask questions, they like to ask silly questions, stupid questions, such as, what time is the flight leaving? Is the pilot feeling okay? I guess that's what they're trying to find from them. They just want to make sure that they will get on that flight. They have this fear that never ends. Look at all these people. They're standing in line, and the boarding call has not even been made yet. And when the boarding call is made, the first one is also for the first class and business class customers. Doesn't matter to these people. They're just going to stand there, make fools out of themselves, embarrass themselves, because when the business class customers are called, they just stand next there looking at all those people, just hoping that someone might just let them go in that, in that business class. I don't know what goes in their minds, but they stand there along with their children. The whole families are standing there just for some miracle to happen. They cannot wait. They do not want to wait. And it's a domino effect also. One person stands up, everybody else follows. This is what I see every single time. Any bell that gets rung, any announcement that gets made, whatever the announcement is about, and that's why they also say, this is not a boarding call. And then when the boarding call happens, they always say, this is a boarding call for business class customers only. And then they call economy class customers by zones. Doesn't matter to our people. They're just going to go and stand there. And one guy I joked with, because as soon as they called for business class customers, everybody started standing and making, they just made a line within seconds. They were all economy class customers. And I joked with the guy sitting next to me, and he was also getting ready to stand up. And I said, looks like everybody is going to sit in business class. I joked. I was like being sarcastic. He thought that this is exactly happening, and that he was the one who missed on it. And he was like, really? He said, everyone is getting on business class? I need to go there too. He did not get my sarcasm. He just got in line hoping that he will just do something, will happen, and he will just get before everybody else. So I mean, please change that habit if you can. Please don't do that. It's just embarrassing. You're making fools out of yourselves, and you're earning a very bad reputation for your own people, for your own country. Anyway, you reach Islamabad, and you think that the most excruciating part of the journey is over, which was a 15-16 hour flight to Dubai, and then from there another 3 hours or so. That's not it. You get in line for the immigration counters, and they have all kinds of names mentioned: foreign diplomatic passports, foreign passport holder. Doesn't matter. You just go. There's no respect for any of that. Even the people who put those boards or signs, even they don't respect it. People try to break lines, and there's always a few people, at least 4 or 5 every single time I travel, who skip all the line, who bypass all the people, and they just get in front of everybody else, and they just pass through the security and the immigration counters and whatnot. And those are the people who always have a relative or a friend working with maybe FIA or some kind of other airport staff, and they skip all the line. It happens right in front of our eyes. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. I see it every single time I fly to Pakistan, and there's nothing we can do. All we can do is just say a few things, and when has speech made any difference in Pakistan anyway? Then comes another hard part of this journey. You clear the immigration, and then you go to the baggage claim, which is another very difficult part of the journey, because you wait there for at least 1 hour before your bags arrive. Actually, if they arrive in an hour, you're lucky. You just look at bags after bags. They move on that belt, and sometimes you feel like you look at so many bags trying to identify your own bag, and almost all the bags are black or some kind of dark color, and you might just have hallucinations. You have, at one point you will look at every bag as your own bag. You might think that this is your bag. It's never the case. So it's at least 1 hour wait over there also. And after you get your bags, then you walk outside. You want to exit the airport, and there are so many people who come to welcome their loved ones. Pakistanis really respect their diaspora. Look at all these people. It looks like a political rally to me. If any American would have seen this, if any American would come here and see this, he or she might feel that there's something special happening here. It's just a Pakistani who is arriving from some country in the world, and I guess the entire families show up to receive them, and that's why you have all this crowd. Anyway, you spend your time in Pakistan, depending on whatever city you are in. I am mostly in Islamabad and Peshawar, and you enjoy, you eat a lot, you gain some weight because you're eating so much and you're just enjoying yourself. There's barbecues with friends and family, and you invite people and you go to meet with other people, and this is how time passes here, and it passes really fast. That's how it is. Time flies when you're having fun, and so you enjoy your time in Pakistan. That's exactly one of the biggest reasons why you even come here in the first place. So anyway, then the time comes for you to go back, and that day is not easy. Not for me, never. Packing your bags and all of that, you just never want to do that. You just do not want to pack your bags. You do not want to go, but you have to go because there's work to be done, and there's stuff to be taken care of, and businesses to be taken care of, and whatnot. So eventually you will have to do that. You will have to go back, and then when you go back, again, you start in reverse. You go to Islamabad airport, which in other airports you have to get there about 2 hours before. In Islamabad nowadays, I think you should leave at least 4 hours before, because it's always crowded. There's no distinction between business class customers line and economy and others. They all just mixed up, and you can complain all you want. You might miss your flight if you do not go 4 hours before flight time. I'm warning you. Whoever's traveling back to their England, Canada, whatever country they're going to, United States for that matter, do not leave late. Go at least 4 hours before the flight time if you want to be on the flight, because you can miss it if you go 2 hours before. No one's coming to help you. Nobody is. And so when you're leaving Islamabad airport, you will come across some really funny things, such as this one. And if you want to wash your hands, the sensor, and also you will see some funny characters along the way. This is Islamabad, and the other suggestion that I have is that when you're traveling, try to wear the most comfortable clothing you have, especially the shoes, because you'll be walking a lot on those airports, let's say in Dubai or Doha, or whatever other country that you are going to. Even Islamabad airport is quite big right now. Some people, I guess, do not know this, or some people just do not like wearing such clothes. And look at what some people are wearing. I do not know how this guy is gonna make it in these shoes. These shoes will kill me in 5 minutes. But this guy is gonna go to whatever country he's going to wearing those shoes. Look at those. So again, like I said, it starts in reverse. You go to Islamabad airport, you get on the plane, then you land in Dubai about 3 hours later. And here's something, there's a tip that I want to share with people who travel frequently like I do. About a week before the flight time, whichever direction the flight is, if you're coming from America here, or if you're going from here to let's say the United States or Europe for that matter, all the flights leaving from Pakistan are in the middle of the night. It's like 2 or 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning, sometimes 7 a.m. So make sure that a week before the flight time, adjust your sleep cycle to when you're awake at night and you sleep very late at night, let's say right after Fajr prayers maybe, and then you sleep through the afternoon until, let's say, 1 or 2 p.m. you wake up. The reason that will benefit you is because the journey starts, like I said, 3 in the morning. So you're not sleepy, you're not tired because you're awake at that time anyway. And then you get to, Dubai, and then from there your next flight, which is the longest flight, by the way, 15 hours or 16 hours, like I said, that one starts. So if you're in this sleep cycle, by the time you are feeling that fatigue and you are feeling the lack of sleep, you're almost like 70-75% into the journey, and it's just a little bit of it left before you start really getting tired. If on the other hand, let's say you are in a sleep cycle where you sleep at night, you wake up in the morning, it's good. Otherwise, normally that's actually the best thing to do. But in this flight, you will be tired from the moment you start your journey, and it's not an easy journey. It's the whole journey from your home to your home in America is about 24 plus 25, 26 hours. That's not easy. Staying awake for that long, plus the first night of missing the sleep, do not do that. And it's true also if you're coming from the United States, because even from there the flights are, almost every flight leaves like 6 or 7 p.m. So if you are in a sleep cycle where you stay awake at night and you sleep in the morning, you start your journey at 6 or 7 p.m. and by the time you feel the lack of sleep and the fatigue, you're already in Dubai or Doha, like I said, if you're traveling with Qatar Airline. And then, it's just a short step after that from Doha or Dubai. It's just 3 more hours. For us, the people who are traveling from America, a 3-hour flight is nothing. We see it as a very, short flight. Other people who only travel to the Middle Eastern countries, for example, between Pakistan and the Middle East, for them, that's a big flight. So anyway, this is something I thought I should share because it will help you stay less fatigued and less tired than if you were to sleep at night. You're also given some food that you should not skip, even if you're asleep. If you're one of those lucky passengers who can fall asleep, you should wake up and do eat because it's a long journey. You need some food. Now you're given a pillow and a blanket and a headset if you want to watch movies like I like to do, and I guess a pair of socks and a toothbrush. Also, when you land in Dubai and you're trying to find your next flight, in one of those screens you might want to find your gate number. If your flight is a few hours away, those numbers are not updated. You land in Dubai and then from Dubai you fly toward the United States. Is a very strict security that you go through. But after all of that, the plane starts flying. You look at this massive, vast desert from the plane. Everywhere you look, it's just the desert. It's beautiful. I like it. Some people don't, but there's beauty in the desert, of course, and you can see it from above. That's the flight leaving from Dubai going to Houston. It's going to be another 15-16 hours. Finally, you land in Houston. Well, I landed in Houston, and you're tired. Sometimes, it's just not easy. Sometimes it's very easy. They just let you go at the immigration counter. You clear everything. You go. Sometimes they put you on a secondary where you have to answer a bunch of questions. After all of that, you are free to go, and either if some friend is coming to pick you up or you use Uber or Lyft, whatever you want to use, go home. Make sure to get those eggs and milk and bread for your breakfast the next morning, and also buy your dinner before you go home, because once you go home you have to unload all those bags, and then by the time you're done with that, you may not have the energy left to go outside and buy some food. So do it before you go home. Well, with that, I guess my journey has come to an end, and I will be sharing more and more of these travel videos and opinions and interesting things that I will come across. And I hope you will like these, and I hope you will let me know of your opinion, what you think, things that you have come across, and also how I can improve these videos. Also, please do let me know in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like and share with your friends and family, and on your social media accounts. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you.